Who went on to work with animals after a career on the Disney Channel? Does the kid from Erie, Indiana have an appropriately weird job now that he's an adult? Not all former child stars burn out. Some of them just quietly move on to other professions. In Stanley Kubrick's classic 1980 adaptation of Stephen King's The Shining, the role of the troubled, psychically gifted Danny Torrance was played by newcomer Danny Lloyd. Lloyd discussed his time making the horror film in a 2017 interview with The Guardian, as he revealed that he enjoyed the experience and has fond memories of it, but he hasn't kept up an acting career in the decades since. His reasons for leaving the industry have nothing to do with the film itself. Instead, the work just dried up for him. Lloyd continued to audition, a process that can be grueling, but he didn't mind it too much. As he told The Guardian, "I always enjoyed it, it was exciting, but as I got a little bit older, it got kind of boring. Then I had to tell my parents that I was ready to quit, which they were fine with. They were never stage parents, they made sure I had a normal upbringing." These days, Lloyd is a biology professor at a community college in Kentucky, and he's happy with the showbiz legacy. According to him, "I don't regret trying acting. When I decided to stop, I don't regret that either." If you know Mara Wilson, you most likely recognize her from early 90s family classics like Mrs. Doubtfire, Miracle on 34th Street, and of course, as the title character in Matilda. She was one of those child stars who seemed to be wise beyond her years. At no point did it ever appear like she was mugging for the camera or attempting too hard to be a cute kid. Instead, there was a natural quality in her performances that was absolutely unique to her, and that may very well be why her work in those films is still fondly remembered all these years later. While talking to NPR in 2016, Wilson explained that her departure from acting happened gradually, almost without her even realizing it. After her mother's passing, acting became the only constant in her life, but she didn't have the same enthusiasm for it. As puberty struck, she was embarrassed by the natural processes of growing up, and it was difficult to go through publicly. Eventually, she found that she could survive without acting, so she instead focused on writing. She composed a play called Sheeple in 2013, and her memoir, Where Am I Now?, was released in 2016.
Where is she now? Where did she disappear to?
Kay Panabaker began her career in 2001 in a short film called Temptation, and she also recorded some voices in the animated Pixar classic Monsters, Inc. Her star then rose so quickly that she worked almost non-stop for the next 10 years. She showed up on TV shows like Angel and Law & Order Special Victims Unit, while also co-starring in the Disney Channel series Phil of the Future. Additionally, she appeared in TV movies like Read It and Weep, alongside her older sister Danielle. And one of the biggest titles on her resume is the 2009 remake of Fame. Despite her continued success, Panabaker ultimately decided to walk away from acting. She revealed to her fans on Twitter her very simple reason for leaving the entertainment industry behind, while also sharing some life advice. As she wrote, "I just lost the love for acting. Life is short. We spend too much time at work. Gotta do what you love, and I love my job." That job that she loves so much is working with animals, as she now has a gig as a zookeeper at Disney World's Animal Kingdom. It would be hard to imagine anyone living on planet Earth for the past few decades who hasn't heard of the Olsen twins. The pair absolutely dominated family entertainment during the early 1990s. They got their start playing youngest sister Michelle Tanner on the iconic family sitcom Full House, and they then shot into the pop culture stratosphere thanks to their numerous TV movies, like To Grandmother's House We Go and Double Double Toil and Trouble, as well as a mountain of direct-to-video movies and other official merchandise. In 2006, the Olsen twins launched The Row, a luxury fashion line that they've worked on perfecting for over 15 years. In a rare interview, they sat down with ID Magazine in 2021 to celebrate the success of their venture. The conversation included very little discussion of their acting careers, though they did mention that the reason they're not open with the public about their lives is they've always been discreet people, as that's how they were raised. While we may not know their exact reasons for entering the fashion world and leaving entertainment behind, it seems pretty clear that they're happy with their current careers. Leanna Creel's biggest claim to fame is probably the 10 episodes of Saved by the Bell she appeared in during the show's final season, in which she was set up as a foil for Zach Morris. She played the headstrong Tori Scott, who wouldn't fall easily for his charm. Before that, her first credit was in another beloved series, a 1987 episode of the ABC sitcom Growing Pains. Shortly afterwards, she and her sisters starred in the TV movies Parent Trap 3 and Parent Trap Hawaiian Honeymoon alongside acting legend Hayley Mills, who starred in the original Parent Trap movie, as well as Good Morning Miss Bliss, a series that became Saved by the Bell. Creel may not be acting anymore, but she's still involved with producing visual content through Creel Studio, a production company that she runs with her wife. It's the company's commitment to philanthropy that really helps it stand out. According to its website, we believe the good life is about more than just material comforts. It's also about living a life marked by doing good. In illuminating all aspects of the good life, we convey an enlightened sense of luxury lifestyle content. Creel also started an app that assists real estate professionals in creating content. Originally a dancer, Amy Foster is probably best remembered for two projects: the 1989 Shelley Long comedy troupe Beverly Hills, which was about a troupe of rich, privileged Girl Scouts, and the NBC sitcom Punky Brewster, on which she played the rich, entitled, and slightly oblivious Margot. But those are only two credits on a long and impressive resume that Foster assembled over the course of an 11-year acting career. While catching up with her Punky co-star Cherry Johnson on the Cherry's World podcast in 2021, Foster discussed what she's been up to since walking away from acting. For a brief time, she entered the music industry and moved to Nashville. However, she wanted to be with her family in Los Angeles, and her husband got a job there working as a firefighter. After the birth of her daughter, she decided that she would rather be home instead of working in showbiz, so she might have the most grown-up gig of anybody on this list. Michael Oliver's career may have only lasted 6 years, but when your first role out of the gate is the meanest little kid in cinema, there isn't much else you need to do after that. He also had small roles in other notable movies like Forrest Gump and Eraser, but it's his portrayal of Junior in Problem Child and Problem Child 2 that left the biggest impact. In 2015, Oliver was a guest on his Problem Child co-star Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal podcast. The two reminisced about working on the original film, learning from the late John Ritter, and what happened to Oliver in the years since. Around the time that Oliver's parents pursued legal action against the studio for failing to pay them the money they were owed, they lost their house, and he was losing interest in acting. He likened his life experience to the opposite of a kid wondering what it must be like to be famous. To him, he was looking at the lives of normal kids and wondering what that was like. At the time of the interview, he was working in the tech support industry. The biggest title on Omri Katz's resume is probably the primetime soap opera Dallas, on which he played John Ross Ewing III. But anyone who grew up in the early 90s will surely know him best for the quirky TV show Erie, Indiana, and the Halloween classic Hocus Pocus. He also worked with director Joe Dante in the 1993 movie Matinee, a cult classic ode to 60s B-movie schlock and Cold War tensions. In March 2020, Katz posted a message on his Instagram that he was getting into the cannabis apparel business. As he wrote, "Being a member of the cannabis community for almost 20 years now, and jumping through hoops of fire to get here, I'm proud to announce our online apparel store will be opening up soon." The store in question is called the Merry Danksters, and the About section on their website declares, "We, the Merry Danksters, are ambassadors of the cannabis culture, with deep roots within the traditional cannabis community. We represent positivity, herb, and unity." Ariana Richards appeared in a few films and TV shows in the 90s that are still a big deal today. She's surely best remembered as Lex in the original Jurassic Park. Additionally, she also appeared alongside Kevin Bacon in 1990's Tremors. She played the title character's love interest in 1995's Angus, and she turned in a heartbreaking performance as a young girl being abused by her father in an episode of Boy Meets World. In 2020, Richards spoke with Amblin Entertainment about her experience making Jurassic Park and what her life's like now. A painter from an early age, she took part in a mentorship through the California Arts Club after college. She credits everything she learned during those 4 years with sending her down her current path as a professional painter. Eva Amore started her acting career in the 1992 film Bob Roberts, alongside the father of her half-siblings, Tim Robbins. Her mother is actress Susan Sarandon, and the two worked together in Dead Man Walking, Earthly Possessions, Anywhere But Here, and The Banger Sisters. Amore also appeared on huge TV shows like Friends and How I Met Your Mother. Her acting career was still going strong for several years until she ultimately decided to step away in 2016. Following the birth of her daughter, Amori realized that she couldn't raise a child to spend her life doing something that made her happy when she wasn't doing that herself. While talking with Yahoo Finance in 2019, she explained that she made a list of things that did make her happy. Her then-husband told her it looked like a lifestyle blog, and he encouraged her to learn how to make a living in an online space. Her blog, Happily Eva After, then launched in 2015, and it covers her favorite topics, which are style, decor, food, and crafting. Even if you've never seen a single film starring this tiny megastar, chances are you still recognize the name. Simply put, there would be no Olsen twins empire without Shirley Temple. Her image was so recognizable and popular that it was plastered all over various kinds of merchandise in the 1930s. She was such a huge star so early in life, but then she retired from acting at the tender age of 22. Considering that she started her life on screen at the age of 3 and starred in 34 films over a 14-year period, it's safe to say that she had a full career before most people even got started. During the late 50s and into the early 60s, Temple briefly returned to entertainment both in front of and behind the camera. She then transitioned to a new role in 1969 when she became a diplomat. As she traveled around the world, she witnessed atrocities that put her on track to becoming the ambassador to Ghana in 1974. And then in 1989, she was appointed by President George H.W. Bush to be the first female ambassador to Czechoslovakia. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite actors are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.